All right, who's excited to talk about info dumping? I am very excited to do one of these write it badly, make it better videos. I haven't done one of these in a long time, so if you are newer to my channel and you haven't seen some of them, I will link the playlist below. But what it is essentially I write it really, really badly to show you what it looks like when it's not good, and then I try to write it better. I don't say write it amazing, I just say write it better because I can at least take it up a level. I asked you guys in an Instagram poll a while back now, I said, give me a character name and 1 to 3 important details about them. Then give me a character want and a character need. This is based off of Save the Cat Writes a Novel and how every character has something that they want and also something that they need, and they don't always line up. In fact, they often are opposite of each other. And then number 3, I said, give me a fun setting to put the character in. And then I do exactly what the video title says, where I write it really, really badly, and then I try to write it better. And I try to take that first draft and show you how, like, every first draft is not the greatest, and I try to take it up a level and make it better. And usually I start out by giving tips and then I do the write it badly, make it better part, but today we're gonna try writing it badly first, and then I'll share some tips, and then I'll share me trying to make it better with those tips. So I am going to reuse the stuff you guys have sent me in the past because I saved them. So I have characters here, I saved all of them together. I have wants and needs all saved together, and location all put together here. It took me a while to find stuff that went together, so I hope that these will work. But I picked Azalea, is that how you say her name? Azalea? Smart, lonely, and hardworking. I thought that went really well with the next one, which was that she wants to be independent, but she needs to find her family who has disappeared mysteriously. And then the third section here for setting, I picked a dystopian world where the cities all float in the sky because the ground is polluted too badly. I thought that last one, the setting, usually the setting is where we info dump as writers, so I picked one that had lots of potential for oversharing, basically. All right, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and focus on my computer screen and start writing. Wish me luck. Okay, so turns out it wasn't really that hard. It only took me 3 minutes to write something really, really crappy. Essentially, all I did is I took the information from these 3 and I melded it together into this. So keep in mind, this is really, really bad. Like, my goal here was to write it badly before we make it better. Info dumping most often happens in exposition like this, or narrative, the stuff where it's clearly the author telling the reader what's going on. All right, so you can see that it's exposition or narration, which essentially means that it's coming directly from the author. It's very telly, it's not active, it's not ongoing, it's just a very, I guess narrative is honestly the word. This is what narrative looks like. So info dumping happens most often, although not exclusively, in narrative like this. So one of the ways that you can work on fixing info dumping is building information into dialogue. The next way is by building information into scenery, building information into action, or building information into the storyline itself. And when I say building into like this, it always comes down to making it relevant and making it natural. So the first question to ask yourself is it relevant to this part of the story? If it's not, then it may need to not be there. Sometimes it can be really hard to know if something is relevant though. So it helps to ask this question: why does the reader need to know this? If your answer is so that they understand what happens in the next chapter, or so that when they run into X character, they feel Y, Z, etc., then you're good. If you have a solid reason for putting that information in the chapter, then your next focus is making it natural. But if your answer is because I want the reader to know it, and you have no other reason, you just want them to know, then that is a sign that you need to either delete that information or move it to a place where it is going to be natural. So info dumping really does boil down to these 2 things, relevance and if it's natural. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to rewrite this scene we'll go ahead and label it here. And this part is going to take me a lot longer. So I'm gonna go back to the stopwatch. I'm gonna go ahead and reset it, and here we go. Right, 10 minutes and 44 seconds to rewrite it. I'm not gonna say it's amazing, but it's better. Let me go ahead and do some finagling to get these on the same screen here. All right, so in this first one, you can see that it's fully narrative. It's telling you what's happening, and I'm just gonna read them out loud so you can see the difference. Azalea lived in a dystopian world where cities all floated in the sky. The ground was polluted so badly no one could live on the surface. The pollution had slowly happened over years until more and more families moved to the cities in the sky, which were called metro levels. I know it's a cheesy name, just go with it. Azalea had moved up to the first metro level in existence years ago. She wanted to be independent of her family. It was lonely, but she knew that if she worked hard and used her intelligence, she could go places and maybe help the world solve the pollution. But a year ago, her family had mysteriously disappeared from the ground. Now, Azalea didn't know if they were still alive. She needed to find them before the surface became uninhabitable. This is the badly section. It reads like a textbook. So what I tried to do as I rewrote it in the better section, again, I really want to clarify that this is not me saying it's amazing, because I literally rewrote it in 10 minutes and I don't have any more story to go on. I don't have a next chapter to go to decide if things are relevant or not. So what I essentially tried to do is take each bit of information in here that I had included and find a way to include it in some way, shape, or form here. Azalea strode into the lab past her coworkers, straight to the wall that held ground pollution metrics, like she did every morning. It was in the red. Again. So here I'm trying to build in that she's a hard worker. Going into her job, she's striding in past her coworkers straight to what she needs to do. I'm trying to include that there is ground pollution. I don't know if metrics is the right word for that. I just went with it. And then I'm trying to really hit home how bad it is, that it's in the red. When she rolled out of bed that morning, a few plumes of smoke had floated past her window. Considering she'd moved to the highest metro level city in existence, set at a proud 10 miles above the surface, that was saying something. Now, I don't feel like I'm really proud of the sentence, but at least it's getting the point across. So far, I have used scenery and action, building the information into the story naturally through scene setting and the character actually doing stuff. Then I tried to build some information directly into dialogue right here. "Any word from your family?" Chili asked from where she stood at the monitors. On a sigh, Azalea turned away from the bright red metrics and shook her head. "There's no way they're still on the surface. It's not livable anymore. But I haven't heard from them since they disappeared last month." Now I have to assume a little bit, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm building information into the storyline itself, because in theory, Azalea's wants and needs are driving the story, and so her need to find her family versus her want to be alone and be independent are really hopefully coming across here. "You told them not to call," Chili reminded her, sliding a second pair of glasses down her nose to help her see the small print. Coming around to the monitors, Azalea joined her, typing in the codes she'd memorized, frowning. "I know, but I'm getting worried. They always call." So again, trying to slip in through scene setting her intelligence and also slip in how she feels about it. And through dialogue, I'm trying to portray that it's a mysterious disappearance, not just a usual disappearance. When Chili placed a comforting hand on Azalea's arm, she slowed her typing. Now I just realized that you can't tell who the she is here because they're both women. So maybe I might do this really quick. Well, it's not the greatest change. I would probably rework the sentence, but again, we're just making it better, not perfect. So when Chili placed a comforting hand on her arm, Azalea slowed her typing, but her friend had already pulled her hand away. When was the last time someone had touched her? She needed to find her family. So this little bit right here is still narrative. It's still telling, but in comparison to how much showing is going on, how much is built into the dialogue, scenery, action, and the storyline itself, this is a very small amount of telling. So I think that this is a much better balance of telling versus showing than what we had right here, which is all telling. All right, my camera battery died and I had to move to my phone here, so that's a sign that it's time to end this video, but I'm just going to really quick recap that it's really about just two things: asking, is it relevant? And then trying to build it in naturally if it is relevant. And again, it can be really hard to know if it's relevant. It can be really hard when you're so close to your project as an author to know if it's actually relevant or not. So one of the best things you can do is just ask the question, why does my reader need to know this? And try to answer it as best you can. And again, if your answer is because I want them to, that's a sign that it may not be relevant and it may not have a chance at fitting in naturally. It may come across info dumpy no matter what. And I've had authors ask me, like, what's the big deal about info dumps? Why is it such a big deal? I don't mind them. But the thing is that it's settling, it's laziness, and it's not giving your reader the best that you can possibly do, because we all do info dumping and it happens sometimes, especially in first drafts. I info dump all the time. But if you're able to make it better for your reader, it's going to change their reading experience so much, and it's going to make the book so much better. And so I know that you want your book to be the best that it can be. That is the goal, and that is why we try to fix the info dumping and slip it more naturally into the story. But I want to end this video with encouragement for you guys, because you'll notice that I had to have the badly stuff. I had to have that information before I could write it better. So for me, and for almost every writer out there, we have to write it badly first, and that's okay. I have people in my Patreon group who are constantly asking me, like, how can I make this first draft perfect? How can I make it better? And I am always encouraging them not to stress so much about making it perfect the first time, because nothing is perfect the first time. This is why I have this series, and I hope to do some more Write It Badly, Make It Better videos soon in the near future, because it really is about letting go of perfectionism and realizing that you can write it better after you write it badly. So go out there and enjoy writing your first draft imperfectly, because that's how you can make it better. And again, I hope this encouraged you. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and comment below if you want me to do more videos like this. I do have a couple ideas for dialogue, world building, and magic systems that I think would be fun to do. And again, I made a playlist of all of these things in case it's more helpful to you to actually see things done in action. So I will link that below as well. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye.